Why does contemporary thought often get stuck in critique without rebuilding?
Get stuck in critique without rebuilding. You know, to critique it is an important tool. We think about it in the right way. The role of critique is always meant to say, hey, the system is working, but here are the problems. When we see it from a certain perspective, this is what rises up. And we credit, these past generations, which looked at critical theory or deconstruction as powerful tools to really talk about that, right? To say, hey, here's the problems. Here's the philosophical problems. Here's the sociological problems. Here's this and here's that. There's a theological problem. The problem with critique is that if left there, then you have nothing else. And then you're saying the responsibility is on you to rebuild it. And when we see that in the real world, but what ends up happening is we see people going back to old ways because pattern is helpful. Pattern is helpful. And we can't leave a pattern to make a new one if we don't see something of familiarity. And so then rebuilding a reconstruction where we see Meta-Modernism. Meta-Modernism takes on the two things, right? Modernity was building. They're building these frameworks, but then they wanted it to be a stronghold. And they take deconstructions, which is breaking down, and they work hand in hand. It says, what's working? What needs to be replaced or fixed? How do we rebuild those areas to make it stronger, more communal, things of that nature? And this is where Meta-Modernism is fascinating because it allows that oscillation back and forth of being optimistic by having, informed naivete. And at the same time, I can be critical when I need to, which then for me means I get a really powerful tool set to break down and to lift up. That means I can look at histories and say, well, how did they do it? What works and what doesn't? Not to sort of take from that history and say, and not ignore them, but to then say, I honor that history, I honor those people, I honor their frameworks, and I want to bring it in. So part of my life is acknowledging that, right? I forget what the word is, but that's why, critique is valuable, but we can get stuck there if we don't have what we need to build. And it's really just easy to critique. I can complain and that's it. I think to process critiquing in love and rebuilding in love, knowing that one is not perfect, is more powerful than critiquing in love and leaving it at that.